back at it again, and we've got one here with Dave Rubin and a panel of folks. But, you know, as you guys have seen, Republicans have taken over, right? Which is good. Republicans have the majority. So, you know, Republicans can obviously delve into things like Hunter and things like that. But then also, you know, something that I was thinking about as well is how hard the left has pushed to expose Trump's tax returns. They've been trying to get him to release those tax returns for years, not even exaggerating. And finally, obviously, they did more recently, which just proved that it was a big. And once they were released, it was a big nothing burger. His tax returns were absolutely nothing. They showed nothing. And one thing that I had been thinking about was, I wonder if Republicans pushed for Joe releasing his full tax returns, which he didn't release the full one. Hillary releasing her full tax returns. You know, the Clintons showing where all their money is coming from. Maybe we should start pushing for that. All of these leftists that have, you know, garnered vast amounts of money. Nancy Pelosi. You went from that kind of salary to being worth over $100 million? Interesting. There's a lot of great stock traders out there, but none of them seem to be that good. Okay? Quite interesting, huh? Very interesting. I can't talk. Sheesh. Very interesting. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. But, you know, but beyond all of that, it's just good to see Republicans back in power so that we can start doing some investigating. And that's what we're going to be diving into a little bit here. So like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Make sure you're following me on social media too. And let's dive in.
Well, we can't talk about Trump without talking about Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff went on The View, and he talked to Joy Behar. So do I even have to lead it with anything other than that?
They're going to be blocking Biden's agenda, investigating his family and his cabinet, Hunter Biden's laptop. They promised to kick you off the House.
I like how she tried to make it seem like it was nothing. Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay. Trump's tax returns. How about that? J6. How about that?
Intelligence Committee. What are you going to do about that?
Well, you know, in terms of my service on the Intelligence Committee, this was one of the promises I think Kevin McCarthy gave, one of the great many and growing list, to try to placate the hardliners like Marjorie Taylor Greene and get their support. But you know, there are much bigger concerns, frankly, I have with what they will do.
Carol, is McCarthy showing up on these shows, particularly The View, which has become a complete caricature of what Barbara Walters, who just passed away, wanted to create, 20 years ago? Is that just a perfect example of what sort of the swamp and the machine and the monster is? These people who lie about everything, never get fired, never get called out, all of the stuff, it just endlessly happens over and over, and usually they actually just get promotions out of it or better TV gigs.
So you said McCarthy, but I'm sure you mean Schiff.
Oh, I'm sorry, Schiff.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I just want to know.
Maybe I didn't. That might have been a very odd.
That question got really interesting with McCarthy.
Although that would be interesting, right? Of course it is. Of course, Schiff is just part of the absolute swampiest swamp. But he says that like MTG wants to get rid of him, and I want to know which Republican wants to keep Schiff. Like, who is the Republican who would like to have him stay on? So the idea that it's some hardliners who are anti him, like, no, that's a pretty all around idea that we all share. That Schiff is just the absolute worst, and that he's reduced to talking on The View about his plans and how much he hates various Republicans.
Buck, do you think it's a good idea? So assuming that it is McCarthy, or one way or another, the Republicans are going to get this thing and it's not going to be Hakeem Jeffries, do you like the idea of just opening up investigations into everything? Do you think that's what people want, whether it's COVID or whether it's looking into the January 6th commission or any of all the nonsense they've put us through? Is that the best use of their time, or would you rather them go in another direction?
It's the thing that they do that they can do. It's not going to make very much difference. The Benghazi effect, I think, is where this becomes most apparent. The Benghazi hearings, look, once Barack Obama won re-election, the idea that there was going to be accountability for Benghazi to anybody who understands the bureaucracy, I mean, I come out of the CIA, right, was laughable. It was just not going to happen. There was just no way. Because what happens when you look at a failure like that, you have all these different people who just point the fingers at 100 other people, and no one's really responsible for anything, right? The only accountability comes for the person at the top, whether the State Department or the president, and that didn't happen. So it was great for people to audition for cable news shows after they finished their congressional terms, but it had no actual effect whatsoever. I think that you are likely to see some of these investigations. The one where I would say it's different, because we really do need the information, more information, is on anything COVID and vaccine related, on that data internally, because that fight, as we all know, is still going on to convince more people of how wrong the Fauci Democrat side was on this, and also how dishonest they were. So I'm in favor of getting that information out there.
Absolutely. So just to see how this all really unfolds coming up is going to be must-see television. It is going to be must-see television. All the investigations that need to happen that Kevin McCarthy promised. He promised. I think I saw it in his speech that we checked out. Somewhere in there, I want to say he was talking about that. I think it was a speech. Maybe it wasn't that speech. Maybe it was a different one, or somebody else talking about what he promised or something. So I expect to see a lot of investigations and a lot of exposing going on, from the Hunter situation to the jab situation, and how disgusting, all of it was from top to bottom. The hiding of the Hunter situation right before a major election was just absolutely despicable. And, the jab situation where you had nurses being fired for saying no. The same people, and this is what always blows my mind about that whole situation. When the virus first came to America and everybody was like, whoa, what's going on? What's happening? We were all just kind of, what, this? Huh? Whoa, that's crazy. We're all a little confused as far as what was going on. You had, these politicians and everyone else coming out and praising these doctors and nurses, praising them. They are the heroes. They are on the front lines, risking their lives, and some nurses lost their lives, and rest in peace to their souls. But then, as soon as Joe got in office, mandated all the crap. If you don't take this jab, you are fired. Even though 6 months ago we were all calling you guys heroes, now you're going to be fired without a job. Make that make sense. How did they go from heroes to just nothing? Pieces of trash to be thrown away. And I thought this was about saving lives. If it's truly about saving lives and hospitals were being overrun, as they were saying, why are you kicking out people that can help? I mean, because it wasn't an issue before, when all this stuff was going on, before you had the jab. So I don't know, that was quite confusing to me. So I just want some clarity on that whole situation as well. And like I said, the Hunter situation. I want some clarity on Nancy Pelosi's tax returns. I want a lot of clarity, okay, across the board, because there's been a lot of BS going on. I mean, from everywhere and anything in between. I mean, including, the government working with social media platforms to censor speech. It's unconstitutional. So what are we going to do about that? We at least need to expose it. I'm afraid that nothing will be done. It'll just be swept under the rug, just kind of like Joy Behar tried to sweep, the laptop under the rug. the laptop. You know what I mean? Well, if it's the laptop, then it's J6, you know? Boo-hoo. The fact that they try to compare J6 to 9/11 was just absolutely disgusting as well. Like, what? Huh? Really? But once again, these leftist politicians play the game. They play the game and they play it well, unfortunately. And you know, I was hoping to get a Speaker of the House that I felt played the game or could play the game a lot better. Like, I felt like someone like Byron Donalds could really play the game. I don't know if you guys saw when Cori Bush basically called Byron Donalds a puppet. He wasn't, you know, he really wouldn't be, you know, a black person. You know, when Byron got those 20 votes, you know, leftists were absolutely losing their minds because we are going to have the first black Speaker of the House. Oh, my goodness, we can't be the first to talk about race. So you had, you know, Cori Bush panicking over that. But Byron Donalds' response was absolutely masterful. Absolutely masterful. And I listened to it and I was like, yeah, I could see this guy being Speaker of the House. I love the way he speaks. He said what he needed to say, but he said it in such a flowery way that the left couldn't say anything. They couldn't. And if they did, they would just look like haters. And look, quite frankly, racist. Which flies in the face of their whole narrative. So it would have been interesting to see him as Speaker of the House. And he has an Infinity Stone, okay? He has an Infinity Stone of woke. So that would have been really interesting to see the left just absolutely go bonkers with him being Speaker. But hey, it is what it is. We have what we have. And hopefully we still get the investigations and everything that, you know, we are looking for, you know, to be brought to the table. But as I always say, what do you guys think? Do you think we'll get the investigations? Do you think the investigations will uncover anything? Or do you think, even if we do get them, nothing will be done about them? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.